Yes, it was smoking pretty bad.
Yeah, he came that last corner up there, turn 7, came on straight over. We saw a lot of smoke come out. He pulled off line, so he's got a problem for sure. He got out of line and got out of the way so everybody could go by.
Leading rookie contender, Jeff Gordon. Here is the leading veteran contender for the Winston Cup Points Championship, Dale Earnhardt. And the 24 car of Jeff Gordon is being pushed behind the wall and back to the garage area as we present a Napa Field summary. How they were running last lap. We're inside Tom Kendall's Family Channel Ford as he is following the cars running up front. Right behind Rusty Wallace.
You see Tommy Kendall put his hand up instead of the rearview mirror so he could see who's behind him, because these cars have a lot of vibration. Sometimes it vibrates so badly you can't tell who's in your rearview mirror. He wanted to be sure he knew who was back there.
As we see the leaders come off of turn 7 there, guys. Mark Martin has just moved into 4th place, and I've been clocking him. He has been gaining over a second a lap on Dale Earnhardt, but unfortunately, he was about 15 seconds behind when I started clocking him.
Got a lot of ground to make up, but the car's running well.
Well, unofficially by me right here is at 14.2 seconds behind, so he's picked up a good second and a half, just like you said, man.
The car is really running without, as we talked earlier, without the benefit of a caution. There's just no way that he can catch him. But remember, everybody's got to make a pit stop again.
All except Jeff Bodine.
Yep.
And Mark Martin eligible for $98,900 in Unocal bonus money. It has not been claimed since Bristol in the spring by Rusty Wallace, and so he could tack on another almost $100,000 to his winning purse if he can pull out a victory.
He probably would make that one of the highest paying road races in history.
Yeah.
Not too shabby, 100 grand.
No, sir.
Racetrack in front of him. The only problem is there's too much racetrack in front of him. Here we see our leader, Dale Earnhardt, the Goodwrench Chevrolet. There's a second place car, Rusty Wallace, and we see third, Kyle Petty. That's a lap car, and I think is that Mark Martin just coming by the start-finish line?
Yeah, it is. You know, one thing I've noticed on these cars, when you watch Earnhardt and you watch Rusty's car, they're leaning a lot in the corners. Mark's car is flat, and it is really quick.
The 44 car, Rick Wilson, is in 13th position.
When he came out of the interloop, Bob, just a moment ago, and just went slow, moving on the high side of the racetrack, let a lot of cars pass him. Don't know what went wrong, if something went wrong with the transmission or just what. But it appears the engine is running okay, but as you can see, he's going much slower than he should be.
Let's see if he comes into the pit area. Nope, he elects to stay out there.
Probably a transmission problem. He's probably hung up in a gear, whatever that gear might be. Maybe it's just going to ride it out.
You know, there's a lot of transmission problems today. There's a lot of cars having problems. And I talked to some of the transmission specialists, and they tell me that the cars have so much horsepower that the transmissions are right on the verge of being not good enough. If they find any more horsepower, we'll see even more transmission problems, because these guys are developing horsepower every day, and they've gotten the transmission to the point they just won't take it.
To the left of your screen, we see Todd Bodine coming into the pit area. That car moving very slowly around the racetrack, and we didn't know whether he was going to make it or not, but he did. In the meantime, the 28 car of Lake Speed is back in competition.
And the 21 car, there he comes. There's a 21 car with no front end on his car right in front of the leader, Dale Earnhardt.
Earnhardt laps Morgan Shepherd, who crashed earlier in the event. Earnhardt is your leader. We'll be right back.
With today's high-tech automobile designs, your car requires the most precise analysis when you have maintenance problems. At Sparks Computerized Car Care, our service far exceeds customer expectation. Mastered certified technicians with high-tech instrumentation give you the results you need. The best service from technicians who care about your car and the environment. Sparks Computerized Car Care, serving Tidewater for over 10 years.
If you've never been to Sparks before, we'd like to invite you in. If you have, we'd like to thank you. be great? Yeah! If you invented a special potion that turned anybody into Rachel Hunter, the supermodel.
Ralph, would you take me for a walk?
Cool.
Ralph, we gotta work all weekend.
All weekend.
And your special potion turned ordinary beer in a can into Keystone, Keystone Light, and Keystone Dry, specially lined for really smooth
bottle beer taste. Ralph, mind if I join your party?
Sure, Bert. Come on over. Wouldn't that be great?
Birdie en route to a 3-under par 69. He's at 8-under par, 1 shot off the lead. 17 golfers within 5 shots of our co-leaders. Join our ESPN golf team for final round live coverage at 5:30 Eastern Time today.
Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, Dorsey Schrader, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back with you at Watkins Glen International for the Bud at the Glen. There's a second place car of Rusty Wallace. And just ahead of him is the leader, Dale Earnhardt.
Looks like Rusty's losing some ground, then.
Yeah, he is losing ground. There's no question about it. Meanwhile, Mark Martin is gaining ground. He has cut that lead Earnhardt has down to a little under 11 seconds, according to my stopwatch. And he continues to gain on Kyle Petty. You see Kyle right there, and there's Mark Martin coming up on him.
And we understand that Kyle Petty will be coming in for a pit stop, Jerry?
That's exactly right, Bob. Everyone has to make one more stop, with the exception of Jeff Bodine, as we've documented. Kyle said, hey, the leaders are pulling away from him, and behind him, Mark Martin is catching him. So he has no choice but to come in and change all 4 tires. And the car number 98 has had problems up with the loop. He's been off the course and now back on. That's Derek Cope in the Bojangles 40 is back on the course, as we are waiting now for Kyle Petty at 35 miles per hour. It looks like it's an eternity to get down pit road, and now Robin Pemberton and the crew will try to go to work and change all 4 tires. Right side lug nuts coming off. Kyle waving for water in the car. Left side lug nuts being taken off. They're getting the car completely full of fuel. Felix Zavada standing over, surveying the action. Now left side tires going on. 1 can of fuel in, 2nd can going in. Kyle puts it back in first gear and pulls away in what would be his final pit stop of the day.
There are 19 laps to go. 71 have been completed, and Kyle Petty now can go the rest of the race. Derek Cope did spin out in the inner loop area. And here's how it happened, Ned, up by you.
Yeah, he comes in there. It looked like he came in a little bit hot, tried to get the car down on the grass, had the left wheels on the grass, lost the back end. He went around. He tries to correct it, sees he isn't going to be able to do it, so he just spins it on around and sort of out of harm's way. He didn't hit anything other than just going over the grip strips down on the inside.
Hey, Jerry, why are the guys changing the inside tires today the first? Why are they doing that first? You know, normally they go around, change the outside tires, come back and change the inside tires. Why have they reversed it here on the road course?
Well, Benny, it looks like what's happening here is that the conditions are so tight in the pits here, it's actually safer for the guys to come across the wall, and probably even quicker to change the right side tires first. And the other reason might be is that you want to be able to get the car full of fuel. They're fueling the car from the right side here, and of course that could make a difference. But while traffic is on pit road and it's very congested, it might be easier to stay on this side of the car first and then go to the opposite side.
With Kyle Petty's pit stop, of course, Mark Martin is now in 3rd position. There's 1st and 2nd. And here comes Mark around corner number 5 and headed down the straightaway to corner number 6.
And he has cut that lead to less than 10 seconds when he went by here the last time, Bob. So no question but what Mark Martin has the fastest car on the racetrack. But that's a lot of distance to make up, and it's hard to imagine with the way Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace's crew works in the pits that he could beat them enough in the pits to make up that difference.
Here's the on-track interval, lap 67 through 71. It was a 14.2-second interval, and it shrunk to 10.7. And look how much faster Martin was than the leader, Dale Earnhardt.
And you know, there's enough time left, in theory, if he can keep up this second per lap deal, he will, in fact, catch that lead car before the end of this race.
Yep, there are 17 laps to go, and it isn't that. There aren't 17 seconds separating 1st and 2nd, so theoretically he could do it. The interval continues to stretch out between Dale Earnhardt, and we have another caution. Rusty Wallace is falling back, and here's what happened a few minutes ago.
He comes off the corner, misses the corner. That's where everyone has been hitting the wall down in turn 6 today. gets off the racetrack. And what's the caution flag for, Bob?
I think it's for oil on the racetrack.
Well, it could be. The 75 car is going he's still going very slowly. Don't know if he'll get back to the pits, but there might be oil on the racetrack as well.
Well, Rusty did a real good job there. You saw the brake smoke. He locked up that tire. He knew he was going off in the grass, so he took his foot off the brake, added a little bit of steering, and kept that thing right on the verge of going off in that grass. If he'd got on that grass, he'd have been right down there in the wall with the rest of them.
Hey, guys, I got to say something. You know, while we've been talking about Mark Martin gaining on the leaders, you know who was outrunning Mark Martin? Joe Nemechek, who was right in front of him. He was outrunning Mark Martin.
But Nemechek is a lap down in 23rd position, but it has been a good race for the defending NASCAR, Grand National champion. Pace car is out for the 5th time here at Watkins Glen.
The average Grand Prix lasts but a few hours, unless it's a Grand Prix started with a genuine Delco Freedom battery. Delco's rated tops for taking the pole position in starting power and excelling in reserve capacity. Helps keep your engine in the race for a longer, more reliable life.
AC Delco. It's like buying time.
Keep your car in the running for that extra lap with Delco batteries.
As the season winds down, the pennant chase heats up on ESPN. John Olerud continues his quest for 400. Toronto continues its quest for the AL East title. The Blue Jays battle the Brewers tonight, live on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
ESPN Speed World is being brought to you by Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline. By AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco, it's like buying time. And by Budweiser, fresh, pure, natural, proud to be your Bud. Pace car has the field in tow coming off corner number 5. This is for some oil on the racetrack, but we're going to be seeing some pit stops here in just a few moments, the final pit stops of the afternoon. There's the Blockbuster Video Blimp, which is hovering high overhead of Watkins Glen International Raceway, making its maiden tour through the eastern half of the United States. And we welcome her presence here today. Look at the people that have gathered here, inside and outside. They're everywhere, waiting for pit stops to happen. They're entering turn number 7, the final turn on the course. Earnhardt, Wallace, Martin, and others will be turning right into the pit area, keeping that speed below 35 miles an hour. We will be watching Earnhardt, Wallace, and Martin in particular, but a lot more than that come down pit road for some service.
And Kyle Petty may stay on the racetrack, try to take advantage of that late pit stop he made and try to take the lead. But meanwhile, let's watch the race on pit road. Jerry Butcher coming to you.
And it should be the final, it will be the final scheduled pit stop of the day. Very slowly they come down, and even as they've been on the racetrack, what happens in the pits will decide the outcome here at Watkins Glen. We're watching Dale Earnhardt's crew, Will Lynn, David Smith, and company go to work on the right side of the car. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace's team changes the left side tires first. Now they move around to the right side while Earnhardt's crew moves to the left side. We'll see which philosophy will pay out. Rusty's car is down and away. Earnhardt is down and away. It looks like Rusty Wallace will win the battle among the lead cars down pit road. And Mark Martin is still on pit road as they have trouble with the right side once again. Now over to the left side of the car. Just now jacking the left side of the Valvoline Ford. And they are working there. As you hear the celebration in the background, that's the yelling and screaming from Rusty Wallace's Miller pits. Excited about their pit stop. And they are unbelievably excited here in the Miller pits about what happened on that pit stop. In fact, Buddy Parrott and the crew here, they are very... Here's Brad Parrott and the rest of the crew here. Unbelievable pit stop, guys. Brad, incredible pit stop.
I'm telling you, these guys are wonderful on this team. You know, hopefully Rusty can hang on, and I know Earnhardt's going to push him hard, but we got the best driver on the circuit right now.
Emotional, red-faced, and completely out of breath, but they did their job. 18 seconds flat, 4 tires, and they got him back out front with just a few laps to go.
And Jerry, somebody else that was awfully impressive on that pit stop too was the Sterling Marlin crew. They went in running in 4th or 5th place, came out in right behind Rusty Wallace. They've gained positions every time they've made pit stops today. That crew has done their job.
So for oil on the racetrack, we are under our 5th caution of the day. Pit stops have been completed. We should be back to racing in just a moment.
There we were, a jillion miles outside of the hood. The bus got a flat, got no jack. Homie's gotta cut his grass. What's up?
4.5. GP 4.5 here down for the 600. Sold.
The man's round sells, but he's got no beat.
Pardon me.
That was death. Yo, MC Cow Seller. Fresh.
Why use Valvoline Motor Oil? For their race cars and their own cars, Valvoline is the #1 choice of race mechanics from Indy 500 to Daytona 500 to NHRA to Baja to SCCA.
The best defense is not to offend. Thus, introducing the new Right Guard Sports Stick. Now with a time-release formula for longer-lasting protection against hostile odor all day. For protection that endures.
Don't wait. Get the news weekly of motoring, Auto Week. Don't wait for driving impressions. Auto Week drives them all and tells you about them first. Don't wait for car news. Auto Week covers the world. Auto shows, the new, the old, and brings it to you fast. Don't wait for racing news. Get the news weekly of motoring. Auto Week brings you the winningest coverage first. Don't wait. Get Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring, now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for a full year. 52 issues at the special TV price of $19.95. Just 38 cents an issue. Save $80 off the cover price. You've thought about it. Stop waiting. Do it now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for the news weekly of motoring.
Hi, I'm Paul Page. We're at Loudon, New Hampshire, where Nigel Mansell has earned another point to a potential PPG Cup championship in the IndyCars by taking the pole for this afternoon's running of the New England 200. We'll have more auto racing coming up here on ESPN. Now, let's send you back to Watkins Glen, New York.
All right, Paul Page, apparently we're going to run a little bit over our scheduled time of being finished with this race, but we look forward to your coverage of the IndyCar race. Now watch the activity on pit road here. Pay particular attention to the front end of Rusty Wallace's car. Watch the crewman come off the wall, jump over the front of the car, and position himself to jack up the left side. Now from the blimp, you can see some real fine work by Rusty Wallace's crew. Now look, they're changing tires on the left side first of Rusty Wallace's car, while in front of him on Dale Earnhardt, they're changing the right sides. The Wallace crew gets finished first on the left side. They come around to the right, do excellent work, and get Rusty off quickly.
And that Jack man almost got run over again.
But you also have to take your hats off, gentlemen, to Sterling Marlin's team. They completed a 4-tire change in a little over 18 seconds.
And came out between those two cars, right behind Rusty Wallace, in front of Dale Earnhardt.
Well, guys, we're about ready to go back to green flag racing. Now, Rusty Wallace is not leading this race. Kyle Petty is leading the race. Michael Waltrip is up in there. Jeff Bodine, they have made green flag pit stop. They didn't have to stop this time. So Rusty Wallace and all those who made pit stops has got to pass some pretty good cars there. Hut Strickland is among those. So they got some good cars to pass before they can get to the front.
The car that's out front is Joe Nemechek. He is back on the lead lap. The leader is Kyle Petty, then Jeff Bodine, Michael Waltrip, and Hut Strickland. Then we get back to Rusty Wallace. And here comes the pace car off corner number 7, looking for a green flag on lap number 78. And there it is. We're back to racing.
Nemechek accelerating. And by the way, this is the same car that Joe used at New Hampshire. to. This is an oval track car. They've changed over. Kyle Petty goes by and takes the lead. Meanwhile, it's Jeff Bodine, Michael Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, and Earnhardt and Sterling Marlin hung out behind the 27 car of Bud Strickland right now. Here's the in-car camera, Jeff Bodine, the roof cam, looking at Joe Nemechek as he accelerates turn 4 and head towards mid here in turn 5 in the interlude.
Of course, Jeff Bodine running second. Nemechek has gone a lap down now that once Kyle Petty moved around. There's Rusty Wallace trying to move on the inside and does move around Michael Waltrip as they come into the interloop here. That'll put Rusty Wallace up into third place, move Michael back to fourth, and Sterling Marlin to fifth. Earnhardt is in sixth as they come around here. A lot of battling going on, and we're going to see a lot of jockeying for position. Mark Martin way back in the pack once again. I don't think he has time this time, gentlemen, to get back up there.
3 wide here with Hut Strickland and Wally Dallenbach beside Bill Elliott. There's still quite a bit of time to go here. This is only going to complete lap number 78, so we've still got 12 laps to go, and a lot can happen.
22 car on, trying to get by the 27. I thought he was going to have a crash there. And here comes Rusty Wallace trying to get by Jeff. He's on the inside, has the position, takes it away in turn 1. Earnhardt gets by Michael Waltrip right behind him. He has gotten by Sterling Marlin. In the meantime, Bobby Labonte is on the inside of Hut Strickland, takes that position away.
And somebody picked up a lot of dust coming through off of corner number 1. For those of you who are tuning in for the IndyCar race, it will follow immediately our coverage of this live Bud at the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race, which has 12 laps to go. It is being led by Kyle Petty. There is Rusty Wallace, who is running second, Jeff Bodine, then Dale Earnhardt.
Now, those that made pit stops under the caution have a little bit fresher tires than some of those others, including Jeff Bodine. Jeff staying up there, though, in third place right now, being hounded by Dale Earnhardt as they head into turn 6. But those fresher tires of Earnhardt should help him move around Jeff before too long. But now Kyle Petty, his tires were relatively fresh. He had not stopped too many laps before the caution came out.
But Earnhardt is having his difficulty getting around Jeff Bodine. Here he comes off the corner, and maybe here on the long straightaway he'll be able to do so as they head toward Benny. He pulls out to make the pass, but will he do it?
He looks like he is on the inside.
Oh,
yes. He clears it down the front straightaway, goes in turn 1.
He actually gave him a little wave out the window there. I don't know what that was about.
Maybe Jeff waved to him and Dale returned the wave. I don't know, but he got around him pretty easily.
Meanwhile, a gaggle of cars there as we went through turn 1. All of them made it fine. This is the roof cam on the Motorcraft Ford of Jeff Bodine as he follows Dale Earnhardt through turn 3, heading up that back straightaway to the interloop. Uh-oh, Darrell Waltrip off the course. He is spun right at the start-finish line, turn 7. It looks like the car's dead.
That car is not headed in the right direction either. Here it is. Again, he's coming through corner number 7, and contact with Derek Cope sends Darrell around.
Boy, real fortunate there. He locked up the brakes. He's got it off the racetrack. Now the caution has come out for Darrell. He's going to stack the field up one more time.
And Ernie Urban has spun over here in the interloop. I think he's going to be okay. There he is, getting it righted once again. That car is taking a beating today.
This is a break that Mark Martin needed. He's able to get a little bit closer to the leaders.
Here they come off corner 7. They now acknowledge the caution flag.
And Nemechek got a lap back.
Yes, he did. He's now on the lead lap once again. He's in 23rd position and on the lead lap.
Real impressive run for Joe Nemechek. I talked to him this morning in the garage, told him how good he qualified. You know, he said, I don't know a lot about this road racing stuff, but I'm having a good time, though.
So with 10 laps to go, we're set up for a shootout. The caution is out once again. The field is bunched. Back with more live coverage from the Budweiser at the Glen.
Recently, the Suzuki 4-door Sidekick was voted best in its class in Canada. Pretty impressive. I mean, this is the great frozen north, the Yukon, rugged, untamed wilderness. We're even picking up a video as an adventure. So what if they call each other hosehead and end every other sentence with A? It's an honor, and we're going with it.
Your local Suzuki dealer has Sidekicks for under $13,000. So stop in today. Suzuki, ask anyone who owns one.
Speeds in excess of 140 miles an hour on the water. Coming to Hampton's Mill Creek, Fort Monroe area. The 67th Annual Hampton Cup. The 1993 World Championships. See 9 classes of hydroplanes and runabouts compete on a 1.25-mile course. See defending national and high point champions from across the United States and Canada. 3 days, August 13th through the 15th, noon to 5 each day. Admission is free. The Hampton Cup, sponsored by Fridays on the Bay, Old Point National Bank, Subtle Motors, and the Daily Press.
As the season winds down, the pennant chase heats up on ESPN. John Olerud continues his quest for 400. Toronto continues its quest for the AL East title. The Blue Jays battle the Brewers tonight, live on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Ten laps to go in the Bud at the Glen. Kyle Petty has the lead at the moment, looking for his second straight victory here. He started 7th. He's currently 1st, but the most impressive thing, look on lap number 14. He was way back in 35th position after he had some mechanical problems with the car. Needless to say, they have got it fixed, and he is in the lead at the moment. And Dale Earnhardt got around Kyle Petty, or rather Rusty Wallace in all of this, and is now 2nd.
Well, he don't miss a trick, does he?
He sure doesn't. And believe me, he's going to be pushing and gouging, trying to get to the front. And I see Mark Martin's back there right behind his, I guess we'll call it a teammate, Wally Dallenbach. And I realize these guys are racing for themselves, but I guess Mark is hoping that Dallenbach will somehow help him get up there to these guys. He has a very fast race car, but he has several cars to get by before he has a chance to get up to the leaders.
I would imagine, Benny, when they drop the green up here, they're going to get some runs going and be real aggressive on the brake zones now. These guys don't have to save anything anymore. What they got underneath them, they might as well use it up right now.
Yeah, if they got a brake pedal, they're going to use every bit down in turn 1. As we watch the Napa Field summary, you see Mark Martin back in 11th spot.
And Harry Gant back in 15th. He was assessed a stop-and-go penalty is the reason that he is so far back, because he was right up there in the top 10. The 15 car of Jeff Bodine, although it is 4th in line, may be having a problem, John?
Yeah, what Jeff has radioed in and told Donnie Wingo is he's felt a bad vibration. He's also been having a lot of problems getting the car to go into 3rd gear. Jeff says he's not really sure if the car will last till the end of this race.
Well, that probably explains the wave he gave to Earnhardt. I'm sure he was experiencing that problem. Earnhardt was behind him, and he waved him on over, and Dale was just saying thanks for getting out of the way there.
Well, it's going to be interesting here when we go green, and we will do so in a half a lap. The green is being displayed here at the start-finish line, which means that the pace car will shut off its lights here on the inner loop, and we should go back to racing when they come around this time. So we're going to take a break and be back for the resumption of the racing here at the Bud at the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race from Watkins Glen International.
We thought we'd been everywhere, seen everything. We were wrong.
We're back to the bone. We're back to the bone.
These guys were weird, and we liked it. Later, they took us to the Tower of Bud. Brother, tomorrow we ride again.
Where you see a close encounter, Ford sees a way to make braking safer for you. Where you see a crowded corner, Ford sees ways to make cornering more secure. It's why we race. Every time you see Ford take home another trophy, Ford has seen ways to win something far more important: every driver's confidence. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Caution came out. Did it?
Here at the Bud at the Glen Winston Cup race, 9 laps to go. Immediately following us now, stay tuned for the IndyCar race from New Hampshire International in Loudon. We understand it was a great race. Don't miss it. Tape delayed coverage coming up next. And right now we are set to go back to green. Kyle Petty has 4 more laps on his tires than everyone else. Here's the green, and here they come, Benny.
lot of bumping
And
already.
oh man, they're about 4 or 5 abreast. Let's see. Sterling Marlin on the inside, 3 abreast. There's Jimmy Spencer, the Meineke car. Rusty Wallace having some problems. He's going back. They tell me he's on 7 cylinders. A great run for Rusty. We can see him falling back. And here goes Mark Martin trying his best to get up to Kyle Petty and Dale Earnhardt. But look, he's got 3 cars right in front of him. He did get by his teammate Wally Dallenbach.
And those are pretty good cars in front of him, too. Kyle Petty, Dale Earnhardt, and Sterling Marlin is in there, so it's going to be tough. There's Jim Bodine up there as well. We understand that Jim Bodine might be having some sort of a transmission problem, hard to make the shifting, but he's staying right there in 3rd place right now as they come into turn 5.
Well, I saw Sterling Marlin move over on the splitter and keep Mark Martin behind him. So watch as they go down here toward the next corner and see if he doesn't move over and defensively keep Mark from. And there he goes right now as we speak. But Mark's got the run going.
Yeah, he sure does. He moves by Sterling Marlin.
Another position.
And a tough break for Rusty Wallace, who has lost a cylinder after a great job on the racetrack and in the pit area. Things just go wrong. Robin Pemberton is the Western Auto mechanic of the race.
There we see Mark Martin trying to get by Jimmy Spencer. Meantime, Earnhardt not making a move. Here comes Martin. He clears Spencer down in the corner, falls in behind Jeff Bodine. And some contact between the 16 and 8, but they made it through the corner unscathed, and looks like Dallenbach's going to have the position when they get to turn 2.
Looks like some contact there also between Michael Waltrip and Bill Elliott. So, gentlemen, what is the strategy that Dale Earnhardt employs now? Is it that point of the season where you take it easy and protect the points lead, or do you go for the win?
Win.
Huh?
Go for the win.
I'm going for the win.
Yeah. Dale Earnhardt don't know any other way. And here's Mark Martin now moving up to 3rd. Boy, he has, how many more laps we got?
7 more, Ned.
Okay, he's got time. If he can pick up that second lap, he can catch it.
And certainly, if you're Dale Earnhardt, you know that Mark is breathing down your neck and catching up. So, yeah, he's going to go for it.
And look at Mark back there with the run off that corner. Now he can see where he's got to get to. You can bet he'll be running that car real hard right now into the brakes. He's got better brakes, I think, than the other guys. You see him get into the brake zones down by you, Benny, and he really gets in about a car length deeper.
He does come in the corner harder than anyone here. He goes through the corner on the throttle hard, comes off that rumple strip.
Hello.
Whatever it is. That white part of the racetrack.
Rough place on the racetrack.
Yeah, rumble strip.
Martin has gained 7 positions in the points in the last 6 races. Is now running in 3rd position. Look at the battle behind him, though, as Wally Dallenbach and
Jimmy Spencer got by him.
Yeah. Oh, and Dale Earnhardt and Kyle Petty have crashed. Mark Martin is in the lead. This is at the top of the S's.
Yeah, that's going to be a big hit right there, too. Right at the top of the S's, Mark Martin is cleared through that. He's in the lead. That'll bring out a caution. Those cars won't be going anywhere.
And Martin may have victory after all.
Unbelievable.
Look at Felix Sabates. Yeah. All you can do is hang your head and cry. Here is a replay of what happened. Now they're coming up through the S's here.
Kyle gets the car out of shape.
Oh, yeah.
All by himself. He spins Earnhardt. He comes back across, and Earnhardt nails it.
I think Earnhardt thought Kyle was going to spin back across the track, and he made that commitment to go on the outside there, and Kyle stayed out there.
Well,
and another yellow.
You know, there's nowhere to go in there. That's like driving through the inside of a tunnel. If you hit that thing, you're just a ping pong ball bouncing back and forth. Earnhardt looked one way, thought he was going to. You only get one move. You either got to go left or right. Earnhardt said, I'm going this way. It was the wrong way today.
That's where the crash occurred here a few weeks ago, Dorsey, involving Steve Millen.
Yeah, that was
the crowd is going crazy here on the front stretch. They are up and shouting and cheering.
Look at them. They are on their feet cheering as Mark Martin goes by.
You know, there's more flags waving around here. I never saw my entire life.
The caution is out, as we said. Kyle Petty is out of the car.
And here comes Earnhardt down in turn 1.
Yeah, he's still running.
He's still running.
Car doesn't look too good, but he's still running. Kyle Petty's car is at the top of the hill, disabled, unable to move.
Well, you can see both the right side tires are blown completely out as he locked that thing down, slid up the hill. It blew it all the way through both the inner liner and the outer, so it'll take a flatbed to get Kyle out of there.
Earnhardt has some body damage, and it's rubbing against the tire. They go very slowly through this scene of the crash.
And also they're going slowly, trying to get this race restarted so it will not end on a caution flag, trying to slow them down, take all the time they can.
Here's Jerry Punch with a comment on Dale Earnhardt's crew.
Dale Earnhardt's crew came back in the pits and are looking now at their scoring monitor. What they're trying to see is there are 20 cars on the lead lap. They have got to be careful not to lose a lap in the pits trying to pull that sheet metal away. If they were to lose one lap, the best they could finish would be 21st. Remember, Dale Jarrett has already parked his car after problems early on. He will be credited with a 33rd place finish. Earnhardt would like to be able to gain some points even though he had misfortune, but they cannot afford to lose a lap here in the pits.
Well, we have seen an unbelievable race here this afternoon that could result in Mark Martin's win. Now, hey, Dale Jarrett has a passenger.
Yeah,
He's picked up Kyle.
Yeah, I think he picked him up and going to ride him back around to the pits. He's a long way from home, so Dale wasn't going anywhere. And at each of the restarts, I don't think we ever established the fact that Dale had gotten back in the race. He's only been back in there about 15 or 20 laps. Probably nobody cared except his mother, Martha. There's Kyle waving to Ernie Irvin and his wife, Kelly. And Ernie comes over and gives him a little bit of love tap there. Said, get out of my way, boy. You ought to be riding over there anyway.
Yeah, Dale is back in 33rd position, so he's not going to pick up very many points here, but he is back in the race.
A little friendly rivalry right there.
Yeah.
What that was.
Here once again is the incident that has cost Dale Earnhardt and Kyle Petty potential wins.
Well,
Looks like he got off the. Did he get off the track a little?
He touched that curb, and that's all it takes in there. You're almost wide open. He hit that curb. The car got loose on him, spun around. Nowhere to go for Earnhardt. They get nose to nose, and both cars tore up pretty good there.
Well, Dorsey, you say nowhere to go. Nowhere to go after he made that commitment. You said earlier that you only got just a short period of time to make that commitment, and he made that commitment to go out there on the outside. There's that little love tap for Kyle Petty. You wonder if he was trying to crawl over in there with Ernie.
Well, it's a very slow pace that's being maintained here so that we can get in as many green laps as possible. As they come down, there will be 4 more to go here at Watkins Glen.
I've been in the car business a long time, and if there's one thing I know, it's that car and truck buyers don't like a lot of baloney, except for lunch. That's why at Williamsburg Ford Lincoln Mercury, we always give a little more for your trade and take a little less for ours. Get a good deal and save a little lettuce on the side.
We'll give a little more, take a little less at Williamsburg Ford Lincoln Mercury.
Your Give-A-Little dealer in Williamsburg.
It's time to expect more from a dealership, and Hampton Nissan gives you more. More service, more value, and more for your trade. If we make a deal, we'll pay off no matter what you owe. If you expect more, try the new Nissan Altima. Luxury with affordability. Hampton Nissan will beat any deal in one of Car and Driver's 10 best cars, the Nissan Sentra. In J.D. Powers & Associates' 1993 survey of vehicle performance, after 3 years of ownership, Nissan was ranked number 2 above Honda and Toyota. Come see why. Expect more at Hampton Nissan, where we offer more on West Mercury Boulevard, Hampton.
Birdie en route to a 3-under par 69. He's at 8-under par, 1 shot off the lead. 17 golfers within 5 shots of our co-leaders. Join our ESPN golf team for final round live coverage at 5:30 Eastern Time today.
A noble warrior advised, the art of protection springs from within. One must stay vigilant against one's unfragrant perspiration, lest one provoke a hostile response. Thus, a Norse ritual is Right Guard Sports Stick. An aromatic array of the freshest scents and maximum protection against disarming wetness. Confirming the wisdom, the best defense is not to offend. Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less will be uncivilized.
Stay tuned next for the New England 200 IndyCar race from New Hampshire International Speedway. That will immediately follow our coverage of the Bud at the Glen. There are a little more than 3 laps to go in this race. And the pace car's lights are out, so we will be going back to green here in just a moment. We have Mark Martin up front. Running second now is Jimmy Spencer. Wally Dallenbach is third. Jack Roush could have his first 1-3 or possibly 1-2 finish. We'll wait and see.
And Bob, there are 6 Fords in the first 6 positions. Ford hasn't won here since 1965. And I think Marvin Patch took the checkered flag then.
That's right.
And Ford hasn't had the kind of year winning that they had hoped to have, so this might get them back on track.
Another Napa Field summary. You saw P.J. Jones there in 10th position. His brother Page won the big midget race, the Belleville Nationals last night, and Page was happy for his brother when I saw him this morning. Scott Lagasse is 13th.
Good run for him.
Yeah.
Road racer I've known for a long, long time. And there's that guy out. I don't like that out down there.
Yeah. And last, not good.
Not a good
Well, it's a better kind of an out than if you were a boxer.
Yeah, that's
right. For sure.
That wasn't a knockout. It was just an out.
Now coming through corner number 7, the final one. The green flag awaits the field. Mark Martin has 3 laps to go and potentially his first win of the season. Here's the green. Now we're going to watch to see if Wally Dallenbach can take second. He's already passed Jimmy Spencer as they head for 1, and now Roush is first and second.
And the cars are about 3 abreast behind them. Dallenbach gets through the corner. Spencer is third. Sterling Marlin is fourth. Meanwhile, all the rest of the cars, we see Jeff Bodine on the inside trying to nurse that transmission or whatever problem he's having and get it back home. Just about 2.5 more laps, and Bodine will have this race done.
And Mark Martin hopes he can get through those 2.5 laps and have it done out front in Gordon, as he had a roller coaster type of a day as he comes into the inner loop here. Has already pulled away to a comfortable lead. That Unical bonus, what is it, $98,800 if he can just keep that thing out front. That keeps pulling away.
Arlene, get out the credit card.
That Unical bonus hasn't been won since Bristol, and it's never been won for a road course race. So Mark may be making history here. Jeff Bodine beginning to fall back now. In 4th position is Sterling Marlin. Bill Elliott is in 5th, and Michael Waltrip and Bobby Labonte. Here is Jeff Bodine running with Kenny Wallace.
Bill Elliott out of this deal. He's running pretty good there.
There's Scott Lagasse trying to get by Jeff Bodine, that pedigree dog food car.
Yep. 2 laps to go. 88 complete. 3 wide, headed for you.
Here they come. On the inside is Schrader. Takes the spot away from Bobby Labonte. Michael Waltrip follows suit.
That's P.J. Jones right behind there. Another road racer that had a real good run going today.
That was a great shot from the blimp of those cars moving through turn 1 and getting in single file. Now they move up through the S's once again onto the long backstretch headed for the inner loop. The lead is being held by Mark Martin.
And he is extending that lead, Bob, every lap around here. He has a very comfortable lead. Now, you don't really have to push it, but the car feels so good to him that he can just ease around here and still pull away from everybody.
Boy, there's a big battle there with you, Ned. That's P.J. Jones, I believe, involved in a battle for position.
Yeah, Michael Waltrip right in front of him. P.J. trying to take the position away, but Michael holding him off as he head over in towards turn 6.
Looking for the white flag this time by. Mark Martin will have 1 more lap to go. He last won a NASCAR Winston Cup race at Charlotte in October of last year, 22 races ago. There's the white. 1 more to go for Mark Martin. And what a great day for the Jack Roush racing team. If they can finish this way, he'll have a 1-2 with Martin and Dallenbach.
Meanwhile, they're about 3 abreast behind them. P.J. Jones trying to get by Michael Waltrip, trying to outbrake him, and I believe he did it. He smokes the tire. Michael smokes the tires, gets off the course a little bit, and loses a couple of positions.
Michael Waltrip might have lost about 4 positions there, Benny, in that little exchange. Harry Gant went by, and so did the 40 car of Kenny Wallace.
And the 98 car of Derek Cope.
Yep.
Got to give a call to Wallace. He's run a good race. Kenny Wallace. Here's Mark Martin moving through the inner loop for the last time.
Don't you know this guy thinks this day would never come, Ned?
Yep. But boy, he has fought hard today. Come back from 2 adversities in the pits, and now just pulling away. Should have no problem getting back to the finish line first.
Headed for turn number 6, where we have seen many crashes today, including one early in the race involving Rick Mast, but we have had no driver injuries. He's off of corner number 6, now headed for turn 7. He enters it, comes onto the straightaway, sees the checkered flag, it's waving for him, he wins it. Mark Martin has the butt of the Glen, and Wally Dallenbach finishes in 2nd spot. Jimmy Spencer 3rd, then Bill Elliott, and Kenny Schrader. First win at Watkins Glen for Mark Martin. It's also his first ever road course victory, and it came in his 15th career road course start.
Didn't take him long to get that winding net down to start waving to the crowd, did it?
He was ready for him.
He was ready for him.
The man deserves this win, I'll tell you guys. He has run so well all year long. Jerry Punch pointed out at the top of the show all the laps that he had led and the problems that he'd had, and problems here today, but yet he came back to victory.
In his last 8 races, he has 6 top 10 finishes, and that, of course, is capped off by this victory here this afternoon. Bill Elliott passes him, waves congratulations, and we will be back with more of our coverage of this race. It's over, and the winner, Mark Martin.
Recently, one of Subway's best customers suggested we offer our turkey breast sub with chips and a drink at a special price. He also suggested a name for this meal deal breakthrough: Abundant Food Consumables with potato wafers and enlarged fluid unit. Not bad, but we call it the Mass Quantities Meal Deal. It's for anyone who has a hearty appetite, or like my friend here, comes from France.
Get a Coneheads Collector Cup with a Mass Quantities Meal Deal at Subway, the place where fresh is the taste.
While supplies last.
The average Grand Prix lasts but a few hours, unless it's a Grand Prix started with a genuine Delco Freedom battery. Delco's rated tops for taking the pole position in starting power and excelling in reserve capacity. Helps keep your engine in the race for a longer, more reliable life.
AC Delco. It's like buying time.
Keep your car in the running for that extra lap with Delco batteries.
Mark Martin has yet to come around to get his congratulations in victory lane. He is saluting the crowd, and the crowd is saluting him. Now he comes off of the final corner and moves down onto pit road and is looking for victory lane, which is positioned just under our broadcast position here at the start-finish line. Again, the IndyCar race from Loudon, New Hampshire is coming up in just a moment, but we've got to talk with Mark Martin on an outstanding victory here this afternoon. Had the fastest car all the weekend, and he overcame some adversity on pit road. By golly, he pulled it off when Kyle Petty and Dale Earnhardt crashed with just a few laps to go. Mark Martin, obviously a very, very happy person as he pulls in and gets the congratulations of those waiting for him. Big round of applause, and our AC Delco Winner Circle interview is from John Kernan.
Mark, it was a long ride around that after you took the checkered flag. I'm sure it was a very long day for you after the problems you had on that early pit stop that got you back. If anybody deserves a win, had to be you guys.
Well, I believe so, too. I want to say I love you, Matt and Arlene. I wish y'all were here. It was a good day for us. I want to thank Valvoline for giving me the opportunity and having the patience to hang with it, and Roush Racing, Jack Roush, and all the guys. We weren't very lucky today until right there at the end. We got a break that we needed. We had problems with lug nuts that were in the pits, and it was awful. I thought there was no way we could win the race. And we had the class of the field in the race car, and the guys have been giving me the good stuff. So,
congratulations, Mark Martin, winning for the first.
I got to say one more thing, too.
All right, quickly.
I want to thank Wally Dallenbach Jr. He gave me a break in traffic back there, and it maybe made the difference.
Mark thanking his teammate Wally Dallenbach Jr. It's been a long time for Mark, but he comes away the winner.
And Wally Dallenbach finished this race in second position. There are the results. Jimmy Spencer was third, Bill Elliott fourth, Ken Schrader was fifth, Marlon Labonte, P.J. Jones, Kenny Wallace, and Derek Cope are next. A reminder about the IndyCar race coming up next. And, of course, we will have NASCAR Winston Cup racing a week from today at Michigan International Speedway. You'll not want to miss that from the high banks of Michigan International. The complete field summary is what we're showing you right now. Rick Mast is okay after his scary accident early in the going. Our congratulations to Mark. This is Bob Jenkins. Thanks for joining us. So long, everyone.
IndyCar racing is driven by 2 power plants. The Chevrolet Indy V8, the veteran with over 1,000 starts, and the Ford Cosworth XB, the powerful new Challenger. And Australia, Nigel Mansell gave Ford its first pole and victory of the year. On the Phoenix Oval, the Chevy dominated with both Fittipaldi and Paul Tracy until they crashed, each while leading. And Mario Andretti took the win for Ford Cosworth. Chevy angrily attacked the Long Beach streets in the hands of Paul Tracy. It would start a string of road course wins for Chevrolet. Ford held the front row at Indianapolis, but it was Emerson Fittipaldi's experience and Chevrolet that took the win, chased by 6 Ford engines. Nigel worked past Raul Boesel on the closing laps on the Milwaukee Mile, giving Ford a 1-2 finish and a clean sweep on the miles. Chevrolet teammates Danny Sullivan and Al Unser Jr. battled at Detroit. Danny and Chevy won. The power battle was now tied at 3-all. On the Portland road course, it was a head-to-head fight. For Mansell, it was too much power too long, and Chevrolet won again, this time with Fittipaldi. At Cleveland, Tracy outdueled Mansell for a Chevrolet win. In Toronto, Paul Tracy outraced his teammate Fittipaldi. Chevy took the top 5 positions in the race for their 5th consecutive road course win. In overall victories, Chevrolet was beginning now to pull away. But that string of victories would come to a screeching halt in the Michigan 500. Mario scored Ford's 8th pole in 11 races, but he lost the lead to teammate Mansell, who drove on to the checkered flag. Ford was now back with a vengeance, with 5 engines atop the final standings. Today, the gap can close again, as Ford and Chevrolet are set to rage at each other in the New England 200. New Hampshire International Speedway, Loudon, New Hampshire, the New England 200. A great race course for spectators and a tough 1-mile oval. Hello, I'm Paul Page. You know, Nigel Mansell is an enigma. Consider the fact that he has trained solely on road courses most of his life, earned a world championship there, took his first flying start in IndyCar here this season, and now leads the point championship. Not based on what he's done on road courses, but based on his performance of ovals. 2 of his 3 wins have come on ovals, and he's led over 40% of all the laps he's raced on ovals. Not nearly as good a performance when it comes to the road courses. Now, will Nigel Mansell be able to continue his championship here today? The odds would certainly suggest that, but there are a good number of other IndyCar drivers ready to contest it. Let's go down now to the front row and meet Gary Gerald.
Paul, this is the 5th time this year that Nigel Mansell has earned one of those precious bonus points on the road toward the IndyCar Championship. He starts here at the pole, and he does it by a mere 0.006 of a second. That's not even the blink of an eye. The bitter irony for the man who starts alongside, Raul Boesel, he did go faster in his warm-up lap. He sits here in the cockpit now. Down here in front of the cockpit along the side pods, concealed by blankets right down here, side pod deflectors. This team thinks it's giving them an aerodynamic benefit in this all-important race. Keep in mind, Raul, second to Mansell in the last mile race at Milwaukee, second to Mario Andretti in the first mile race at Phoenix. He wants so desperately to get that first IndyCar win. He's poised and ready to go. A big story this weekend, the track surface, how it'll impact this race. Let's go to turn 1, our colleague Jan Beekes.
Well, that's right, Gary, and 1 month ago, the Winston Cup stock cars ran here at New Hampshire, and the track broke up. New Hampshire International Raceway wanted a perfectly smooth racetrack for the Indy cars to run on, so they ground away the affected areas, and then they put down 200 tons of asphalt. And then at IndyCar's request, they put down this lime substance that you see, the white here. That's to help the asphalt cure, which would take as long as a year under normal circumstances. What that did in practice and qualifying, it pushed the racing line higher. That meant that they had to come up with new chassis setups versus last year. Well, what will that mean for the race? What it means is that we had support races here today, and they started to venture down here into this limed area, and over in turn 3 and turn 4, you can run low. We'll probably see cars 3 abreast. But here in turn number 1, you're gonna have to pass on the high side. It'll take a brave IndyCar driver to put 4 wheels in here.
Just some of the challenges that the Indy cars face today. Now, let's take a look at the starting field. On the pole is Nigel Mansell. The current point leader celebrates his 40th birthday with his 5th pole of the season. Alongside Raul Boisel, the runner-up on the miles at Phoenix and Milwaukee. In row 2 to the inside is Scott Goodyear, his best qualifying run since he sat on the pole at Phoenix. And Paul Tracy, a 3-time winner on the IndyCar trail. In row 3 to the inside is Roberto Guerrero, looking for his first win on a mile oval since '87. And Mario Andretti, who has scored 18 victories on 1-mile ovals. In the 4th row is Scott Brayton, the 2nd straight week that he has qualified 7th. And Danny Sullivan has won only once on a mile oval. In the 5th row is Bobby Rahal, the defending champion of the New England 200. And Teo Fabi. It's been 10 years since he's won on a mile oval. In the 6th row, Jimmy Vasser, who ran 3rd on the Phoenix Mile in April. And Stefan Johansson, who made his oval track debut here a year ago. In the 7th row, it's Emerson Fittipaldi, his worst start on a mile oval since April of '88. And Robbie Gordon, he has scored 6 top 10 finishes this season. In the 8th row is Al Unser Jr. Only one of his 18 career wins have come on mile ovals. And Mike Groff, making his 4th start of the season. In the 9th row is Willie T. Ribbs. He ran a strong 10th in last week's Michigan 500. And Arie Luyendyk has won 2 of his last 5 starts on mile ovals. And in row 10, it's Olivier Griard and David Coudray. Row 11, Brian Till, Hiro Mashushita. The 12th row is Johnny Unser and Marco Greco, and alone in the 13th and final row is Jeff Wood. So now on the pit road, the IndyCar engines begin to sound off, balloons float into the air, and we are set to go with round 11 of the PPG IndyCar World Series, the New England 200. Today's coverage of the New England 200 is brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. And by Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you friends know when to say when.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. It gives your engine superior protection against wear, superior protection against heat and stress, superior cleaning power. Protect your car's engine with new advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
This is a new car. I'd be crazy not to use Quaker State.
You can feel it deep inside. Dedication and a real sense of pride. And you're giving it your best. Proud to be your bud. Budweiser. Proud to be your bud. Proud to be your bud. Ooh, yeah. Proud to be your Proud to be bud.
This is a line. To some, it is seen as a barrier. To others, it's a point where traditions of the past are abandoned in favor of visions of the future. Introducing the revolutionary new Toyota Supra. It's taken everything sports cars were before and crossed the line.
No matter what you drive, we've got you covered from H to Z.
We're very close to the start now as ESPN is ready to follow the Indy cars to the end of the season. We've talked about Nigel Mansell, but Derek, what about other contenders?
Well, his main contender is Emerson Fittipaldi. Now, he's had his second bad qualifying in a row, and this is a pivotal race for Emerson because he knows if Mansell builds on that 19-point lead in the championship, then Emerson will very much have an uphill battle to try and win this championship for the rest of the year. Let's move forward on the grid to Roberto Guerrero. This is a new Budweiser team this year. They started off reasonably well, then lost their way a little bit, involved in some crashes, not always their fault. But recently they hired Steve Newey, an engineer that has a very good rapport with Roberto Guerrero. And this rapport, our understanding, is definitely paying dividends and translating into speed with this team. This team is on the way up again. Now let's move to the front of the grid. Raul Boesel, the man who's been knocking on the door of victory so many times. He was on the pole at Milwaukee. In fact, he's been second 3 different times. He almost won the big one at Indy. Well, this weekend, he was the fastest man in almost every session, including qualifying. His final warm-up lap was actually faster than Mansell's pole position time, but then he blew the pop-off valve and lost power. Now, I don't think there's anybody here that would not like to see Dick Simon and Raul Boesel wheel that Duracell car into victory lane for the first time.
All right, the field has now begun to roll. We look at Danny Sullivan. Remember, he was not able to race a week ago in the Michigan 500 because of the flu. Last year's winner here was Bobby Rahal. The race is 200 laps. That's 211.6 miles, a very long distance for a 2-stop race, and that will figure into the tactics here today. Looking backwards to Raul Boesel from the pole sitter Nigel Mansell's car. Some of the onboard views that we will have for you as they scream around this mile here today. Over the shoulder of Raul Boesel, the PPG pace car, and the pole sitter just ahead. Danny Sullivan. Not only do we have this over the shoulder, but we'll have some telemetry on board coming from Danny Sullivan's car as well here today. So now they begin to scrub the tires, get as much heat into them as they can, and are set to go racing on what could be a pivotal day in the championship. It could thrust Nigel Mansell way out in front, or it may give the opportunity for any number of drivers to close in. The weather here today, we've got 80 degrees. We had a chance of rain, but now they say no problem at all. Nice sunny skies and low relative humidity. A beautiful day in New England and a magnificent track. Great spectator track here. Plenty of sweeping grandstands so they can all get a nice view. Now on the backstretch, Nigel Mansell, Raul Boesel as the rest of the field begins to align behind him. Mansell will pace the field through the 3rd and 4th turn as he now begins to pick up the pace. Already the pace car is headed down the pit road. Rest of the field nicely aligned. Mansell with a slow pace coming to the green flag now begins to pick it up just a bit. They straggle out a bit at the back as we go green, and they go 6 abreast in the back of the field as Mansell and Boesel battle. Scott Goodyear drops into 3rd place, moving into the 1st turn. Tracy moves to the high line. Scott Goodyear, the first one to test low on the track, but of course does slow at a much lower speed than racing speed as he comes up to full chat now. The yellow flag comes out.
Yellow flag came out, and obviously the starter did not like what he sees, or else there's debris out on the racetrack. If there's debris, we will see some of the safety vehicles take to the racetrack.
They indicate that there may have been contact in the 4th turn, and there may be debris down there, so they're going to send the safety vehicles out to look for it. There it is, as you see the safety team from IndyCar picking up part of a nose wing. The question is whose it is and how much difference will it make? So they'll send them around again. Derek, there in fact may be the answer. No. It's actually on the nose there.
Yeah, it's Marco Greco who actually made contact, and the pieces of debris that we saw coming off the racetrack, in fact, are from Marco Greco's car. We may see him also take a trip down the pit lane.
Take a look in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Jeff Wood and Marco Greco apparently got together, and there it is.
Apparently got together, yes.
Boy.
And now you're not supposed to pass anybody, so that was a little bit too anxious. But Greco, luckily, he didn't actually contact or make contact with the wall.
Focus down on the front of the field. When that happened, the yellow came out. He came around, got it into the pit area, and so we run under yellow. With Mansell, followed by Boesel, then Tracy, then Scott Goodyear, and Roberto Guerrero. They will now come single file around. The track is clear. We should be able to go back to green flag racing in just a moment. Let's go down pit side, Jan Beekes.
Well, talking about wings, Paul, take a close look at Raul Boesel's rear wing. He has what's called a cascade wing, and you'll notice that on Nigel Mansell's car, it has a single plane wing. What that means is that Raul Boesel has set his car up for more downforce in traffic. So wings could play not only part of this yellow flag, but the victory of this race.
But the cascade wing, Derek, that should mean more drag and therefore not as high a terminal speed.
Danny Sullivan ran this cascade wing during practice, and he was 6 miles an hour slower down the front straight here. He took it off immediately, thinking he was not going to be able to give up that much speed. Boesel reckons that during the course of these 2-hour races, if he can maintain the grip in the corners, he thinks he will more than compensate for that little bit of drag down the straight.
PPG pace car gives the signal one more lap to go as we look at Raul Boesel. The same signal coming from the starter stand. So on the 4th lap, we will return to green flag racing. Marco Greco spun at the back of the start. That brought out the yellow on the 1st lap. Lights go off on the pace car, a signal to the field behind that they will now go back to the green flag. And Nigel Mansell, for the first time in his IndyCar career, has led the opening lap on an oval. Remember at the Michigan 500, he was so powerful. Will that be repeated here today? He makes that turn off 4. Lessons learned, picks up the pace. And we go green again.
And of course it's single file now because it is in fact a restart. Look at Goodyear, he stays high out of that line trying to challenge and move up onto the Duracell car of Boesel.
Scott Goodyear moves into the battle for second place as Paul Tracy makes his move inside Goodyear. Tracy working a groove a little bit down on the inside of Goodyear, now drops in behind. Battle for third continues. Tracy moving to the inside now. He will run down on that slickened area.
And you have to be careful. You have to be so confident with the handling of your car to put all 4 wheels down into that white limey area. But Tracy looks very good. He looks quicker than Goodyear right now.
Paul Tracy able to work the low groove. If there was any concern about it, it should be drifting away now as he is able to keep pace and actually get a little bit ahead in the first corners on Scott Goodyear. But then Goodyear works 3 and 4 better and is able to get ahead of Tracy. The ongoing battle for third.
We saw a clear picture there of horsepower. Tracy was actually alongside, right through here, gets alongside Goodyear. And watch what happens. Look at this. Goodyear draws away. He's got more power than Tracy or less drag down this front straight. And Goodyear does not have that cascade wing that Boesel has. That's why he's quicker down the straight.
So the ongoing battle for third place continues between Scott Goodyear and Paul Tracy. The 2 Canadians at it once again. The 2 that have made this sport so incredibly popular in Canada now. Tracy looks to the inside. Paul Tracy, with his wins this year, used to be able to go anywhere he wanted in public with no problem. Now they know him everywhere in Canada, and they love him for making his mark in the IndyCars.
In corners for so long on oval traffic, you can afford to wait and bide your time. You don't have to jump and try and make an over-aggressive move. But look at Tracy, constantly has a little look down the inside of Goodyear.
You'll get a glimpse from time to time, too, of Mario Andretti and Scott Brayton. Andretti just moving around Brayton and able to close now on Roberto Guerrero in a battle for 5th place. As Tracy continues to worry Scott Goodyear. Front of the field, still Mansell and Boesel. They are not in contest with one another at the moment.
This is where the race is. Try and overcome a car that's a little bit faster down the straight. To do that, you have to be right behind him exiting the corners. But traffic can play a role here. Goodyear goes high and forces Tracy high.
And in doing that, they are both able to move up on Raul Boesel because the leaders, too, have begun to encounter this slower traffic. And Boesel is able to close just ever so much on the leader, Nigel Mansell. Jan Beekes has an update on Raul Boesel.
Well, Paul, Raul is dropping back, and his crew reports that he's picking up a little bit of push or understeer in turn 3 and in turn 4. That is also one of the things that added to him slowing down in qualifying. So it's a push slowing down Boesel.
Paul Tracy made the move to the inside, trying to push alongside Boesel. Boesel looks over, checks that left mirror again, because he sees Tracy in the battle with Goodyear. And Tracy's pushing down to the inside of Goodyear now. Look at this as they come side by side.
Great wheel-to-wheel stuff. But look, Goodyear is quicker down the straight again. Tracy cannot pull it off.
It's not much, but just enough to make a difference.
Johnny Unser's in trouble. He's traffic moving to the high side. He's in deep trouble. That may cause a yellow if he dropped a lot of oil.
Johnny Unser's car, you saw the display of vapor at the back of the car. That could also mean liquid oil. more than just vapor out on the race course. It may bring out the yellow flag, but this fight continues for third.
This is where the race is. Mansell still leads, but this is the race here. Now, as the race unfolds, this Penske chassis usually becomes more superior than the Lola Ford. Here he goes again.
Paul Tracy makes the move to the inside. And once again, Goodyear is able to work that high groove. But how do they come off the corner? Tracy has a nose on him. And Tracy will get his nose across the line first, so he will be scored up into third place, at least for that lap. And now he comes all the way past. So power finally did not pay off. Paul Tracy handling a little better going into the first corner.
Sometimes you have to wait. Paul Tracy made that move on lap 2, and it took until lap 15 before he actually pulled it off. But look at this.
Oh, they split around Hiro Matsushita, and now they're back side by side again. A dead heat to the line as Goodyear now puts us ahead of Tracy. Traffic again in front of them.
Willie T. Ribbs is now in the middle, and Tracy gets the break. Tracy is on the inside, and Goodyear has to back off. Now Tracy's safely in the lead, but they're not out of the traffic yet.
If you're running back in the field, you really have to pay attention to the traffic coming up on you. Willie T. did. He saw the one car moved high. He couldn't move high enough to let both of them through. So Nigel Mansell is the leader, followed by Raul Boesel and Tracy.
The Suzuki GSXRs. First, they win more road races than any production motorcycle in history. Then, we put a license plate on them. The new liquid-cooled GSXRs, now available in 600, 750, and 1100 octane.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Red balls of fire! You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will, what a thrill. Reminisce raises red balls of fire.
Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug.
ESPN's NFL 12th Man Contest, sponsored by McDonald's and Lee Jeans. It's simple. Win the contest. Pick any NFL team. Take 3 of your best friends to every away game. Get $25,000. Travel first class. Meet the players. ESPN's NFL 12th Man Contest, sponsored by McDonald's and Lee Jeans. Anyone can win, but not everyone wants to. To enter, call 1-900-2884-NFL. 95 cents per call or enter by mail. Must be 18 years old to enter. No purchase or call necessary.
Back at the New England 200, Raul Boesel with Paul Tracy closing on him. And now, at the same time, it is Scott Goodyear splitting to the high side. Raul Boesel may be in trouble.
He has a lot of understeer. He's not quick into the corners. This is a look at Johnny Unser. We saw him smoking earlier on.
Let's go to the pits and Jan.
Well, you talked about the spray from the back of Johnny Unser's car, and you're looking at the oil-covered Chevrolet engine. They have a huge oil leak. I'm surprised it did not bring out a full course yellow. Johnny Unser, it's unlikely they can get him started back up again. What they're doing right now, trying to clean all that oil off and find the leak, fill it back up with oil, see if they can get him underway. Guys?
Back on board Raul Boesel's car, who has now dropped to 4th place as Paul Tracy and Scott Goodyear both moved around, and Tracy and Goodyear are in pursuit of Nigel Mansell. So Boesel, who started in 2nd, now dropping back to 4th and struggling with that car. Mario Andretti with Scott Brayton just behind him, a battle for 6th place, and Brayton challenging. Brayton trying to find room to the inside, traffic just ahead of these cars.
That's Ari Lyondike that's just ahead of him. Imagine Lyondike has to move out of the way. So often he's the leader, but Brayton trying to take advantage of Mario getting caught in traffic. Not close enough here.
Lyondike having a terrible day. He runs in 20th and already runs 1 lap behind the lead of the race. Mario Andretti. Brayton just behind him. Remember, Mario picked up the win on the mile at Phoenix, but only after leader Paul Tracy, who ran a full 2 laps out in front of the rest of the field, crashed, giving the lead over to Emerson Fittipaldi, who, when they came back to the green flag from the accident for Paul Tracy, had a part brake and went into the wall as well, giving the race over to Mario Andretti. So this battle breaks off. Let's go to Bobby Rahal's car and ride on the nose.
And this is one of the best in-car camera angles you will see for a long time. Currently running in 9th position, not where Rahal wants to be. Watch him go over the line. Right there, gets slippery. You can hear he's off the power. Now he gets back on the power, drifts it wide up into the groove. But Rahal got this car very late, remember, doesn't have the type of test time other people have, and doesn't enjoy the type of success he did, particularly last year.
All right, at the same time, let's go to the front of the field and ride on board with Nigel Mansell. Traffic just ahead.
The key to Mansell on these ovals, I think he's very smooth. He's in the lead, adapting to moving past traffic. He still goes over the line also. That's a measure of the confidence he has in the car. But Mansell adapting and likes these ovals. And I have to tell you, he is very relaxed on these race weekends. Look at him gather up the traffic here.
Alonso Jr. just ahead. Mansell, we mentioned, celebrating his 40th birthday today. At a little party back in the paddock area. His family is all here celebrating with him. He's still suffering a touch of what he believes is the flu from last week. Remember how exhausted he was at the Michigan 500.
And you saw a good example there, Paul, how quickly you have to make a decision. He went to the outside of Machusta. Machusta came out, then he went back to the inside of Ari Lyondike. So within the space of one corner, he has to change the groove twice. Change his line twice.
Look how well the car responds to all of that. Seems to be able to put it anywhere he wants. Now Raul Boesel beginning to handle up Scott Goodyear and gets back around Goodyear. Remember, both Tracy and Goodyear got around Boesel. Now Boesel suddenly is back in this fight.
And he definitely got caught in traffic, and look at the traffic jam here that Mario's now caught in. He almost got boxed in there.
Mario had Olivier Griard down to the inside as he tries to work his way through traffic. Now we come back, Scott Goodyear and Roberto Guerrero. Guerrero able to come by Goodyear. So if it was Boesel that was having trouble earlier, perhaps now it's Goodyear.
Well, Scott Goodyear was not that confident after his full-tank run yesterday evening. He just didn't think he was as close at this mile oval as they were at Phoenix earlier this year, or even at Milwaukee. He didn't have that confident air about him, and maybe we're seeing the results of that lack of feel for this car, and now he's actually adapting with coping with some problems.
Scott Goodyear scored his first and only IndyCar pole at Phoenix this year. Now struggling to get around this course. No other battles in the field. We say that as we see some cars overhauling for lap positions.
That's Mario still struggles to stay ahead of Brayton. Brayton very often can take advantage of traffic, but the problem is when the lead car passes, they don't always see a second car that might be right in his slipstream. But Mario's still enjoying about 6 car lengths on Brayton.
All of that. They moved around Teo Fabi, the bright yellow car, who was running in 16th place. And so just that quickly, much of the field is running off the pace. 11 cars remain on the leader lap, led by Nigel Mansell, followed by Paul Tracy and Raul Boesel. We'll be back.
Let's see what Kevin left us this time.
You mean what he didn't leave us?
Hey guys, thanks for watching the place again. Sorry there's no food, but the
Celica's in the garage. We need eggs.
Definitely eggs.
We gotta have orange juice.
Freshly squeezed orange juice. Why don't we get some bacon?
Make that Canadian bacon.
The Toyota Celica. Bringing home the bacon has never been so much fun.
Bud Light, please.
Tonight's ladies' night, and there's a special on Bud Light.
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Oh no, it's Ted from accounting.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. It gives your engine superior protection against wear, superior protection against heat and stress, superior cleaning power. Protect your car's engine with new advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
This is a new car. I'd be crazy not to use Quaker State.
Back in the New England 200 as Mario Andretti is in a fight. Scott Brayton just got past him. Now Robbie Gordon comes up to challenge as well, with Emerson Fittipaldi sitting just behind Gordon. Mario seems to have been in the thick of some sort of battle or another, with the exception of a couple laps right from the start of this race. A moment ago, it was Brayton that was able to move around him. And now look at Fittipaldi as he comes down onto that low groove. And Fittipaldi gets around Gordon and picks up 7th place now.
And the Penske likes that low groove. It has grip down on that tight line. He's going inside Mario also. So he has good grip down there, just like we saw Paul Tracy demonstrate earlier in the Goodyear fight.
So if there is any question at all about the quality of the track down low, I'd say it's gone now. One of the things most of the drivers seem to praise here is how smooth the surface is. Everyone seems to think really a nice track to get around. Nice and smooth. Ari Leyendyk is down in the race now. Let's go down to the pits.
Well, Ari, last week a 3rd place finish in Michigan. The car not responding this week. What's happened to put you out so early?
Basically just handling problems. The car is undrivable. And for me to stay out there and get in the way of everybody and myself, the team decided to call me in and call it a day, and I think it's a wise decision because on these tracks the speeds are too high to have to cope with a car that is very ill handling.
Sorry to hear that. We hope it's better in weeks ahead. Thanks, Ari.
Thank you.
Wow, tough day for Leyendyk, Paul. He just says it's not safe to drive, and the team has put him on the sideline, and he agrees with it.
Good piece of sportsmanship by both he and the team crew. Now, speaking of speeds, fastest lap of the race has been turned by the leader of the race, Nigel Mansell. And there is Paul Tracy as he makes his move on the leader of the race. I was going to say Nigel's been running at 160 miles an hour, and so is Emerson Fittipaldi. Then Mansell's speed dropped off, and now Paul Tracy moves to the lead.
And again, we see Tracy runs right down low across that line. It doesn't seem to affect this Penske. Oh, look at the traffic jam here. Where's Mansell? There's Mansell on the outside.
It gives Mansell an advantage as he closes right back on Tracy's wing. Let's go to Jan Vikas.
Well, Paul, we talked earlier in the race about downforce. One thing that all the teams concede, the Lola teams, the Penske does have a little more downforce. That's why we're seeing Paul Tracy and Emerson Fittipaldi move up so quickly. The Penske chassis, a little more downforce. That's why they can run lower than the Lola. Paul?
Also, I spoke to Paul just before he jumped into the car. He said one of the reasons this car is so good over long periods, it does not wear its tires out as quickly as the Lola. That's why as these races progress, these Penskes come nearer and nearer to the front. And remember what we saw Penske or Tracy do at Phoenix? He was 2 laps clear of the whole field before he made that mistake with Jimmy Vasser.
Paul Tracy now threads his way through traffic as Nigel Mansell tries to catch up. This is the view from onboard Bobby Rahal's car. Let's take a look at that pass one more time as they worked their way around Danny Sullivan, and Paul Tracy just jumped up high and blew right past him.
Well, that is as definitive an outside move as I have seen for a long time. Mansell protected the inside line, and Tracy said, okay, I have grip down there, but the outside line was wide open, and in a flash, he had the lead.
And of course, in all of that, you saw that they were able to get around Mario Andretti, Nigel's teammate, who now runs in 10th place, Bobby Rahal, who now runs in 9th. All those cars are a lap behind the new leader of the race, Paul Tracy.
Now it's Goodyear. It's match. Oh, here it's 3 wide again. One of the comments after last year's race was how easy it was to run 2 and sometimes 3 abreast, particularly into turns 3 and 4. That's what we saw right there. Cars in the middle, one goes low, one goes high.
Look at Robbie Gordon as he battles with the leader of the race. And now Paul Tracy is able to move away. Robbie Gordon, a lot of people wondering about what his future may be for next year. A.J. Foyt, the car owner, says, well, I've got an option on him for next year. I like what he does, and I think I'm going to exercise that option.
Robbie Gordon says he's not sure about that option. Micah Cranifer says he is definitely going after Robbie Gordon if he puts his complete new IndyCar package together, which in fact is not, I don't believe it's done yet.
We approach what the racers call the silly season. Actually, we've been full out in the silly season. It started about a month early, but mostly with conversation. It's like once the first seat becomes available, we're probably going to see people change everywhere. Now Roberto Guerrero, who runs in third place, he was able to get around Boisel and chases Nigel Mansell, who is in second.
They had hoped in this Budweiser team that with the addition of Steve Newey, they could get this team to another level. Well, it seems to be working because Guerrero is more consistent now. He was actually fastest at one time in the sessions here on Saturday, and now showing during race conditions here that he's back up to his old form, because Guerrero has won these 1 mile overs in the past. Look at this, wheel to wheel, and he's on the line. Car must feel good.
Derek, what is it so special about people like Newey that they can suddenly get a team to come together and begin to perform?
Well, rapport is probably a word that covers a lot of areas, but rapport or understanding is Steve Newey knows what Guerrero is saying. He knows what he likes, and he can almost feel as if he's in the car himself. That is important because you can work out the problems that the car has without ever being in the car. And that's the important thing. The engineer has to be able to understand how to make these cars go faster, and then the job for the driver becomes easier.
Further update on Roberto. Here's Gary.
Here in his pits, Paul, on the wall, Joe Flynn calling the shots. John Dangler here as a partner to Kenny Bernstein. They love the way the car's handling. They do not plan any changes on the first pit stop. Remember, his best this year of 5th place early in the season at Long Beach. They think they've got a chance to be on the podium today. And if you're thinking podium, why not think about winning it? A lot of optimism here for Roberto Guerrero, one of the truly nice guys of this sport.
Paul Tracy continues the lead. 52 laps are now complete. The first pit stop should be about 13, 14 laps away. And at this speed, it'll come up quickly. We'll be back.
Wouldn't it be great if you invented a special potion that turned anybody into Rachel Hunter, the supermodel?
Ralph, would you take me for a walk?
Cool.
Ralph, we gotta work all weekend. All weekend.
And your special potion turned ordinary beer in a can into Keystone, Keystone Light, and Keystone Dry, specially lined for really smooth
bottle beer taste. Ralph, mind if I join your party?
Sure, Bert. Come on over. Wouldn't that be great?
Newport News Cable is the entertainment value leader in Hampton Roads, and the values keep on coming in this month's cable bill. Steam clean all the carpet in your home for just $44.95 from Merit Carpet Care. Here's 4-way car care savings: an oil and filter change for just $9.90, an oil change and tune-up for $39.90, complete brake service for just $54.90, or have a timing belt replaced for just $159.90 from Sparks Computerized Car Care. These money-saving coupons are one more way to say thanks for subscribing to Newport News Cable.
Are back. The bombs are back. The blitz is back. The NFL is back on ESPN. The Raiders battle the Cowboys on an ESPN NFL preseason special. Last season, they took it all.
And now the Super Bowl champion Cowboys look invincible again. But the silver and black attack of the Raiders will try to cut them down to size. Saturday night, live on ESPN.
Back on ESPN, don't forget the Senior PGA Tour, the Bank of Boston Senior Classic. That's coming up live at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time today, after the IndyCars here at the New England 200, where Paul Tracy is the leader of the race and working his way through traffic almost constantly now as the rest of the field is spread out. No one in direct contact with one another at the moment. Tracy is 2.5, nearly 3 seconds ahead of second place Nigel Mansell. There are only 5 cars on the leader lap: Paul Tracy, Mansell, Roberto Guerrero, Raul Boisel, and Emerson Fittipaldi. 54 laps are into the record book, now 55, and so we should be a little over 10 laps away from the first stop of the race. And running with only 1 yellow, we take a look at Raul Boisel trying to hold off a charging Emerson Fittipaldi, who has been steadily working his way up through the field and now begins to work on the 4th place car. Starts to the inside and just that easily has passed him, using Sullivan as a bank shot to get down to the inside.
And it wasn't even a challenge because Emerson so easily went down the inside. But here we are now. Have a look at the telemetry here.
And the first thing to look at is the throttle position. On the right side, he's on full power. Full power, and watch how much he comes off. Almost right off the throttle, gets on the brakes. Now he plays with it, look. Dab, couple of little dabs. As soon as he knows the car's straight, bang, straight back on. Now watch the speed. 166, 7, 8. A lot slower than they were in qualifying here. So you have RPM, speed, lateral G's. That's another very interesting thing to have on the race car. It gives you an idea of the physical forces on a driver.
As we take a look at this Chevy telemetry, look at the lateral G's increase. And it comes on very sudden as he turns into the corner and sustains all the way through that corner.
And of course, lateral G's, G's being gravity, the force of gravity. Lateral means sideways. Now watch the graph here, look, goes up to 1, 1.5, 2 G's. That means twice the force of gravity, double your body weight is pulling you sideways as you go around the corner. That's why, of course, drivers have to use neck straps because their neck muscles are physically not strong enough to hold the head and their helmet up.
Marco Greco has given up the run as well as he pulled off the course and behind the wall. As we approach the pit stops, what's the strategy in, say, the Penske pits? Let's get an update from Jan Bikas.
Well, Paul, the strategy right now is to maintain the original strategy of going with a two-stop race. If cars do not make it to lap 67, you cannot make this race in 2 stops. Both Emerson Fittipaldi and Paul Tracy are going to be on pit road on the very same lap. They're separated enough on the track, they think they can get away with it. Lap 67, Penske will be in. That means even if it's green, they can do it in only 2 stops. Paul?
That's 6 laps away as Paul Tracy. Now, is he perhaps on his way to a repeat of his performance at Phoenix, a race that would surely have been his had it not been for what appeared to most as a premature move on the slower car of Jimmy Vasser, where he ducked under the inside, lost the back end, and caught the wall. Emerson Fittipaldi now closing on Roberto Guerrero. There's Guerrero, the red and white car, just ahead.
Well, the Penske freight train in race conditions over these long runs is again proving to be much more superior than the Lolas. So Roberto Guerrero is going to have his hands absolutely full in about 1 lap. But I don't think it's going to be much of a challenge because Emerson has closed this gap incredibly in only about 2 or 3 laps. Watch what happens under... Oh, look at this. Acceleration out of the corner. Emerson is so much earlier on the power and blows by him. No contest.
There's Fittipaldi now into 3rd place as he has steadily fought his way up through the field. And look how fast he pulls away once he is around Roberto Guerrero. Again, echoing what Derek Daly suggested earlier, and that is that the Penske cars do not appear to use their tires nearly as much as the Lolas do. In fact, there's almost the appearance that the Penske cars get better the further they go.
They certainly get faster as the fuel load lightens. Now, the next one up the road, of course, is Nigel Mansell. There's Johansson moves aside, not happy with his Penske. It's exactly the same chassis as Emerson Fittipaldi is in, obviously with not the same setup.
Got an idea with the serial scoring graphic there of Fittipaldi's gradual move up through the field as he comes up to overhaul 8th place Bobby Rahal and put him yet another lap down. 1 car slides up to the wall, catches the wing, the yellow comes out.
David Kudrave loses it at turn 3 in the traffic jam and has a lazy slide up into the wall, breaks the rear suspension and the rear wing.
Now, what will they do with the pit stops? The leader's lap is 66. He could wait into this yellow and then head for the pits. It couldn't come better at a better time.
Well, this will open up the door for everybody to charge down the pit lane, and Mansell is one of the first one in the pit lane, and Gary Gerald is there.
Well, this is almost a blessing here. This yellow, it's perfectly timed. This team was going to wait until lap 72. That's the indication that they're getting excellent fuel mileage. So this is purely a routine stop. We don't expect any changes in the handling characteristics. Tom Wirtz holding Mansell, holding him. Now they're ready. Off the jacks, 14.4 seconds on our clock. Nice pit stop under yellow for the race leader.
Let's go to Jan Bikas.
Paul Tracy brings it to a stop. He locked up the brakes and slid a little bit past his marks. Right now, Roger Penske's on the radio telling him, hold the brakes, Paul, hold the brakes. That's one of the things the driver has to do. He also has to reset the dash. We're looking for changes on the car. We haven't seen anything. The car's in gear. We saw the wheel spin. Has to turn very hard around Rahal. He's underway.
From the overhead shot, you saw that when he got hard on the brakes, he was well past his stop marks, that T that is set in the pits. Now Mario Andretti, as they work on his car. Raul Boisel is in the pits too. He picked up the lead of the race, of course, when Tracy came in and Mansell came in.
And they adjusted those front wings on Bozel's car, so he is not happy with the handling. We got a report he did have understeer or push. They've obviously wound more downforce into that car to try and make those tires last for this second one.
I want to understand the strategy here now. Paul Tracy is the leader of the race. The question is whether or not, before we look at the crash, the question, Derek Daly, is why, if you were Roger Penske, and you know that a car is into the wall, there's debris out there, why wouldn't you just carry until the end of the yellow, since your car is so powerful anyway, and then stop it?
Well, sometimes it's just safer to bring him in early, because at the end of the yellow, if everybody waits, then you have a much bigger chance of actually making contact or having difficulty getting in and out of your pit lane. But Roger Penske very seldom makes mistakes in situations like this, and he will know that Kudrav's car is still against the wall.
All right, here is the situation that put David Kudrave into the wall. Just a quick little loss and up against the wall.
You see, he gets it sideways. That's Rahal we're looking from. It's a slow, lazy slide. He jumps on the brakes, but now he's out of the groove in the gray. No option but to just back it up. I don't think he hit the wall too hard, but he did break that right rear suspension as he walks away, having run in a very good 13th place.
So David Kudrave obviously okay, but terribly disappointed as he walks away from the New England 200. And under yellow, Nigel Mansell is back in.
This is friction. Metal grinding on metal. Friction can wear your engine down. Friction can shorten its life. This is Pennzoil, the friction-fighting motor oil that protects more engines than any other motor oil in America. Choose Pennzoil. Use Pennzoil, and you'll get quality engine protection in each and every drop. Pennzoil. Performance, protection, quality.
The new Toyo 800 Plus all-season touring radial is Toyo's finest tire, designed for superior driving comfort, a very quiet ride, and long tread life. The Toyo 800 Plus comes with an 80,000-mile warranty. Now, we've got to admit Michelin offers a similar warranty, and so does Bridgestone. 3 superb tires. So, what's the difference? See your nearby Toyo dealer, and he'll explain gladly. Toyo tires, driven to perform.
Where you see a close encounter, Ford sees a way to make braking safer for you. Where you see a crowded corner, Ford sees ways to make cornering more secure. It's why we race. Every time you see Ford take home another trophy, Ford has seen ways to win something far more important: every driver's confidence. Have you driven a Ford lately?
This week, the PBA's best hit the hardwood at the Greater Grand Rapids Open. Then the heavyweights hit the air as Ray Mercer continues his climb up the championship ladder against Tony Willis.
Knockdown Thursday, ESPN. Hey!
Well, the IndyCar safety team has cleared the David Kudrave car off of the race course. The PPG pace car makes its turn into the pits, and we go back to racing once again. Roberto Guerrero ducked into the pits just as the yellow came out. And as a result, he is sitting here out in front of the field in danger of being lapped by the leader of the race, Nigel Mansell. Guerrero runs in 5th place. Mansell, the leader, followed by Tracy Fittipaldi, Bozel, and then Guerrero, owing to his position, is in peril.
Roberto Guerrero needs to run like a rocket here because he can get a lap down so easily. He needs a yellow, but it probably won't come. But again, you see how different a line Mansell takes. He's inside him here, and he's outside him down at 3 and 4.
Nigel works so gently with that car. Last week at the Michigan 500-2, he lost about 8 pounds during the run of the race to dehydration. Looked at him this morning, he still didn't look that strong.
And here's the 2 Penske's coming here. Look at this. Tracy is well able to let things settle down a little bit because he knows how good this car is relative to the Lolas after about 15 laps.
You got a glimpse of Mike Groff there coming out of the pits. He was in and out because of a stop-and-go penalty issued by the officials for pit speed violation. pit speed limit here today is 80 miles an hour. You start inching much above that, get to 85, you're going to come in for a stop and go.
It's controversial, the rule, but it does work, and it is implemented because of safety reasons. They do not want to have crashes in this pit lane, and that's what they're trying to avoid.
The pit speed. Jan Bikas, you have an update?
Well, Paul, you're talking about 80 miles an hour, and then 85 is when they'll pull you in. They have a slightly different system here this weekend. They have 2 stationary guns, and then they have 3 people that are roving. In other words, they now all communicate by radio, and if you have one gun that's a little bit high on a driver, like one guy who runs 86, but all the other guns are okay, they're going to let that slide. It looks like Mike Croft was the only one to fall victim to that this time. Another quick note, they have tried laser guns, but it turns out that Indy cars don't get picked up on laser like our road cars, so they have to stick with radar. Paul?
Smaller fronter profile. While we have you, Jan Bikas, the radar guns themselves, they are recalibrated for these much higher speeds, are they not?
Well, they don't have to really recalibrate them, Paul, because they're only running 80 miles an hour in the pit lane. And another thing that Derek Daly can tell us about is that holding an Indy car at 80 miles an hour is a lot harder than holding your street car at 55. So they have them slightly tuned. Yes, Paul, remember, they're only running 80 in the pits.
Believe it or not, they have to practice running at 80 miles an hour because they can't run cars that slowly. Normally, what you do is you select a gear, maybe it's 2nd or 3rd gear, you pick the rev range that you know you're not above 80 miles an hour. And that's what you watch as you leave the pit lane because there are no speedometers on these cars.
I know an Indiana State Trooper that said you were practicing 80 miles an hour. Unfortunately, it was on an interstate, wasn't it?
No, it was in the pit lane.
Pit lane practice. Nigel Mansell leads it. Paul Tracy second, Fittipaldi third, but look at the Penske cars as they close down in an ongoing battle now for second place.
Fittipaldi is in a closer fight for this championship over Mansell. There has never been team orders here, but Paul Tracy, remember, could still win this championship if he throws another few wins together. He hasn't had the consistency. Boy, he has had the speed.
82nd lap now into the record book, 200 laps of scheduled distance. It's not a full 200 laps, 200 miles. It's actually a little further in distance, 211.6 miles. That's stretching the 2-stop race, but at the moment, owing to the yellow, the second one of the day that came out when David Kudrave hit the wall at just precisely the right time for all the pit stops, it should now be, without question, a 2-pit stop race. First one's already complete.
Look at this here, Paul. Look at this here. Fittipaldi is clearly faster than Tracy. There will be no challenge here. You can't jump your teammate. Here he goes.
So Fittipaldi moves into second place and now can set sights on Nigel Mansell. He's only about 2 seconds ahead. Take a look at Nigel Mansell, who sits in the lead of the race. There he is. We'll look for the interval now. And there comes Fittipaldi and Tracy. So there is no cushion whatsoever between first and second. And Fittipaldi should gobble that up pretty quickly. Fittipaldi still running the fastest laps of the race at 164.7 miles an hour. Average speed of the race, 136.8. Well over the record. Let's go to Jan.
Well, Paul, when we saw Emerson Fittipaldi move by Paul Tracy, it's because when they made their pit stops, they made no changes on Paul Tracy's car, but they changed the stagger, the rear stagger on Emerson Fittipaldi's car. That's what's brought him up to speed and able to run faster than he did previously. No changes on Tracy's. Paul?
Stagger so critical on a course like this, and boy, is it paying off for Emerson Fittipaldi. Look at him close down.
Inside
not
line.
just close down. Look at how he moves to the inside of Nigel Mansell. Mansell gets caught high behind Hiro Matsushita.
Oh, it's not over yet. Mansell still has, he has the advantage, stays on the high line, but Emerson has his number. Emerson knows he is much quicker than Mansell.
Fittipaldi got caught up by a slower car as well, and now Paul Tracy comes back to battle with Fittipaldi, but he'll get caught behind Matsushita.
First, second, and third, all in a line. The Penskes are faster, but Mansell is a great street fighter at trying to use traffic to his advantage. He did it just there.
Paul Tracy finally gets clear of Matsushita, moves down to the inside, and once again, Nigel Mansell has to deal with some traffic ahead. We look back from Mansell.
Here's his nightmare. But Penske gets bigger and bigger in his mirror. There's traffic again. Look what happened here. Emerson got caught in traffic again and lost about 2 or 3 car lengths.
But every time Fittipaldi loses a little momentum, he is able to drive right back to the rear of Nigel Mansell's car.
With the inside line again. Look at this. He makes it 2 car lengths on that inside line all the time. That's Willie T-Ribs moves. No, he doesn't move. He stays to the outside. On an oval track, the faster drivers don't like to see you move around a lot. So if you are in the high line, they like you to stay there. And then the pass is up to them.
Now Paul Tracy has to deal with Willie T as well. He does so. First, second, and third are back in contention. Again, traffic ahead of the leader.
That's Guerrero now right ahead of Mansell. So Guerrero did manage to hang on.
Guerrero will not want to give up this position, though, because he is in position of being lapped, but he continues to hang out in front there, running in 5th place.
Here it is again. Look, you can see Emerson. He's down on that inside line. Then he draws up 2 or 3 car lengths, but he's not close enough here to make a lunge down the inside. No, he has a little look, changes line, but knows he's not close enough.
Fight for the lead in the New England 200. Now you can see how close Fittipaldi truly is. That onboard camera tends to push the car following back just a little bit. But Fittipaldi is most definitely right there. And so, for that matter, is Paul Tracy.
And that's Guerrero right ahead of him. So Guerrero, I don't think, is going to make things easy. He will not move over to let Mansell by, because remember, that puts him another lap down.
And they all have traffic to handle just in front of them. Stefan Johansson now in front of Roberto Guerrero.
Oh, there's a big traffic jam now. Look at Guerrero. Mansell tries to come down the inside.
And here comes Tracy. Tracy comes up to challenge Fittipaldi on the outside. They split around a slower car. Tracy comes into 2nd place now. He dives for the lead alongside of Mansell. And Paul Tracy in a lap comes 3rd to the lead.
It's not over yet. Look at Mansell.
Mansell tucks his nose in, moves to the inside. Again, Roberto Guerrero a factor. Paul Tracy maintains the higher crew.
Well, and one fell swoop. Oh, look at this, look at this. Emerson now tries to put a lap on Guerrero.
Tracy moves around Guerrero. Mansell still moving up high on him. Fittipaldi still close.
There is such close wheel-to-wheel racing. When you're lapping people here in ovals, you have to be so careful not to move offline. But Paul Tracy, such a decisive move to move past Fittipaldi and then slice past Mansell, gave him no recourse or no reason or no way to come back on him.
So Tracy assumes the lead of the race. Look at the crack in the lens on Nigel Mansell's car. You think it's not rough and dangerous out there? More than just other cars in your way.
The Suzuki Katana 600, easily identified flying object.
Lisa's great, but there's something about Sharon. Sharon's okay, but Lisa, whew, what a knockout.
Why is the grass always greener on the other side?
You lucky dog. Lucky dog.
Why ask why? Try a less filling beer with a lot more taste. Bud Dry. It's one thing.
Nice.
That's beyond question.
Dear Midas, my brakes were making a terrible squeaky noise. I brought my car to your competitor, and without any inspection, he said, "You need new brakes." Then I went to Midas. Your manager...
Hi, I'm Tom Kirshner.
...had a thorough inspection done and said,
"You don't need new brakes. The squeaking noise is caused by brake dust."
Such honesty is refreshing in a time of auto repair ripoffs. Yours truly, Frank J. Ruder.
Off the road, on the road. The Suzuki Dual Sport 350S. It's a vicious cycle.
Back in the New England 200, Nigel Mansell climbs all over the back end of Paul Tracy's car, trying to catch him. Paul Tracy having to deal with traffic just ahead at Stefan Johansson that he will have to battle. Johansson moves up high. Tracy comes down to the inside. Mansell tries to get past Johansson, and he can't do it.
Yeah, Fittipaldi got the bad run there. Mansell did get back by him, but how quickly the face of the race changes when you have traffic.
97 laps complete.
And that's a battle for position that they're passing. Mario Andretti and Scott Goodyear, who they're just about to come up behind, is also a battle for position on the track. That's 10th and 11th.
Paul Tracy now begins to pull away. Fittipaldi still the fastest car on the racetrack, and the race average coming up at 139 miles an hour. That's 6 miles an hour faster than the record set here last year by Bobby Rahal at 133 miles an hour. A tremendous battle at the front of the field, broken off for the moment. We take a look back to the pass.
And Tracy set it up when they were all in traffic. Here it is. He got past his teammate. He slices down the inside of Mansell, then goes inside Guerrero, and that's it. It was over.
And Mansell takes a chance, comes to the high side of Guerrero, nearly gets pinched up to the wall to continue his pursuit of Paul Tracy.
Now, Emerson, I think, is still in good shape, because you mentioned the fastest lap. He is actually 2.7 miles an hour quicker than the next fastest man, which is his teammate, Paul Tracy. So Emerson comfortably fastest on the racetrack, so he can bide his time. He looks in very good shape.
And Mansell closes in a bit again.
This is a great fight. This is what Mansell likes. Hard, close racing where he has to fight hard. Mansell is a very physical driver in the car, wrestles with the steering wheel, pushes the car all the time, doesn't mind if it gets loose, quite confident that he can handle it. But this is the type of fight that he likes, and it's often the type of fight that he wins.
Mansell was 0.8 ahead at the line on the last lap. He is now closed 3.5 on that. It's just a tick over 0.4.
And it was like this before the last round of pit stops, and Mansell managed to get back into the lead. Maybe he's thinking of a similar move in the pits for the next stop.
Paul Tracy's been very competitive on the 1 mile ovals this year, but he's crashed while leading both at Phoenix and at Milwaukee. We asked Paul, did he learn from these experiences?
Well, I think so. Talking to Rick, and he said you got to pay attention to all the details, and before, in that race I was coming up on guys and passing them so quickly that they didn't even know that I was there or that I was coming by. And I think sure you got to get by people quickly, and that was one of the reasons why I got such a big lead. But I think coming into this race, you got to take a look at guys and see how they're handling, and then make your move, because you don't know what's wrong with the guy or if he's got a handling problem. And the majority of the time, people don't see you because they're just trying to get around the track themselves. And I think that's one of the things I've learned, and been able to practice on the road courses and really pay attention to the details on the road courses coming up on guys, and that helped a lot.
Tracy seems a lot better balanced in figuring these races and staying with it. You got a glimpse of Johnny Unser there for a second as Tracy now comes around Mike Groff, who drives the second Rahal Hogan car. He's had an occasional ride in that, as he is the test driver this year. Johnny Unser, by the way, is Bobby and Al's nephew. So Paul Tracy is in front of the field, being chased by Nigel Mansell.
If it were just to win more trophies, we wouldn't be here. But there's a side to Ford racing you won't find in the sports page. It's learning how to make your car safer by racing 200 miles an hour in heavy traffic. And learning how a granite roller coaster can make your truck even tougher. Because when it comes to developing technology for your Ford, there shouldn't be any limits. That's why we race. Of course, we're not about to give back all our trophies. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Engine performance to the max. Performax from Pennzoil. Drain interval protection to the max. Performax from Pennzoil. Engine protection to the max. Performax from Pennzoil. New synthetic motor oil with Pennzoil's exclusive star molecule. Protects engine parts at ignition. Works like liquid ball bearings. Hangs tough during the most extreme driving conditions. Performax. Protects to the max.
Imagine this is a sidewall of a tire. The whole idea is to keep the tread area in level contact with the road, or you'll lose traction, especially in cornering. Now, Goodyear has learned a lot in Turn 1 at Indy and applied that knowledge to Eagle street radials. In cornering, there's a lot of force trying to lift the tire, but Goodyear Eagle's racing-inspired sidewall design works to hold the tire firmly to the road. Eagle radials, only from Goodyear. We like to say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Back at the New England 200 as Emerson Fittipaldi, car number 4, closes on Nigel Mansell, the red number 5. This is a battle developing for second place. Paul Tracy has been able to pull away from Nigel Mansell. Mansell had closed within 4/10, but now he's fallen back. He's 1.3 seconds behind the leader of the race, Paul Tracy, and being threatened somewhat by Emerson Fittipaldi. Let's go down to the pits, get an update on Danny Sullivan.
Well, Paul, Danny Sullivan has made an early exit to today's race, and he pulled straight back to the garage area. What happened?
Well, we just had terrible handling problems. We don't know what the car was, very, very loose, you know, just the back end wanting to slide around. We changed everything, lowered the car, tried everything we possibly could out in the pit lane and in the cockpit. Nothing mattered. We were just in everybody's way.
Thank you, Danny. Let's get back upstairs.
Nigel Mansell, second place. Now in a bit of a fight with Bobby Rahal. Rahal finally sees him there, moves to the high side. And in just those last few laps, he was able to clip off 5/10 off of Paul Tracy and is closing back in.
It's unusual that now we have seen 2 front runners come out with bad handling problems.
Mario Andretti comes into the pits. This is the 112th lap. Mario Andretti, only 41 laps since his last stop, so he needed some changes on that car. Mansell back up behind Maschusta. Fittipaldi closing once again. Boy, look at him make up distance there. Fittipaldi will have the benefit of passing Maschusta on the straightaway and close even further.
Now there's one more pit stop, so remember this is a championship fight here, not just a race fight. So as this rolls on, I wonder, will Paul Tracy be allowed to keep station? Because remember, Mansell is 19 points ahead of Emerson in this championship fight. If there is team orders, it certainly won't play out until the next pit stop and let the race unfold first.
What do you think the chance of team orders are? You think they really would order that?
I can't see it. It's too early in the season because Paul Tracy could still win this championship. So I don't think he's far enough behind to say that you must step aside and help Emerson.
As Tracy most definitely in the fight as well. The Valvoline race recap after 109 laps. 2 caution flags have come out. One for contact with the wall. That was David Kudrave. We've had 3 lead changes. Mansell and Tracy have been the battlers at the front of the field. Let's go pit side, Gary Gerald.
Paul, we're documenting what's going on with Mario Andretti on his first pit stop. They didn't like the way the car was handling, made a change. It did not improve. Dramatic wing changes on this second stop. Mario, remembers, in 4th place in the season points and right in the thick of the battle. He won on the mile at Phoenix, but boy, he has got a handful today. He's been struggling to stay in the top 12 or 13.
Now look at that interval change. Here comes Mansell closing in again while Fittipaldi closes in on him.
Well, Mansell just did the fastest lap that he has done in the race a couple of laps ago, 164 miles an hour average. That is only 0.7 of a mile an hour slower than Emerson. So Mansell is not in too much trouble out there. We saw them make that wing adjustment. He obviously likes it.
We talked at the start of the race about that battle for the engine supremacy. Well, there's Chevrolet in Tracy's car, Ford in Nigel Mansell's car. Let's go to Jan Bikas.
Well, earlier you guys were talking about strategy, and Derek said that Emerson Fittipaldi seemed to have the fastest car on the racetrack. Emerson also thinks that's the case, and he is very much elected just to lay back a little bit and save his tires. He's letting Paul go up there and tussle with Mansell. He's just playing it very cagey. He knows he has the quickest car, and he's going to be all ready to pounce if he needs to.
Boy, there's the wisdom of a veteran.
And the last time he did exactly that on an oval track was the Indianapolis 500. And at the end of the day, he was running stronger than everybody and just blew everybody away.
Good maneuver. Put $1 million in his pocket. Look at Mansell. Mansell takes traffic. But Tracy handles it just as well, going to the high side. The view from fourth place, Raul Boesel.
How quickly things change. Mansell saw an opportunity in traffic, sliced down the inside, and then suddenly got boxed in, and Tracy went to the outside. Look at the traffic jam here.
Up and Boesel loses it, backs it down, catches the wall. That brings out the yellow, of course. Everybody gets by safely thus far, but it closed up the front of the field.
Well, no, this is it. Look at this. Strategy played out here. The Penske cars are in.
Everybody onto pit road. Mansell in there as well. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
We wait for Nigel Mansell at this end of the pit. He's near pit out, Paul, yet to appear. Let's go to Jan Beekes, the Penske end.
Paul Tracy is in. They have made the changes. They have put on the tires. There have been no chassis changes. They have just filled it with fuel. And we see Emerson Fittipaldi behind him is now also just getting underway. Both Penske cars taking advantage of this yellow.
Mansell still sitting in the pits. Newman Haas team working on his car. And the stop going just a bit long. They struggle with the right front.
Now he's lost track position. On the last pit stop, he went from second to first. 26 seconds it took for this stop. Now he's gone from second down to third.
Paul Tracy assumes the lead of the race. You saw Raul Boesel trying to drive his car back into the pits, but he'll only get it into the pits. I don't think you'll see any repairs on that car. Here it is again, Derek.
He was simply too high, got into the gray, lost control, a bit like Kudrev earlier, backs it in not too heavily, and he actually tries to drive that car off the racetrack. Here it is from the in-car. Watch the violence of the impact on his helmet. Look at him fight the wheel. Watch here. Watch his head. Boy, we said he hit it lightly.
No, I don't think so.
That might have been heavier than we even anticipated.
But Raul Boesel is okay with a 13-second pit stop. Paul Tracy made it in and out of the pits and took the lead. We're under yellow.
Son of a gun protectant. Nothing works better on your car's leather, vinyl, and rubber. It can turn just about anything into a great-looking car.
Nice car.
What, this pile of junk?
Give it the gun with Son of a Gun. And now give your tires a quick kick with one-step tire care.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Great balls of fire! You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. But your love drives a man insane. You broke my will, what a thrill. Driven this to raise your great balls of fire.
Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug.
Today's coverage of the IndyCars is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Pennzoil, America's #1 selling motor oil for performance, protection, and quality. So the yellow is out for the third time today. Here's the reason Raul Boesel caught the wall on the backstretch. Quick little spin, back the car in. We look at it once again as he was running in traffic.
In a traffic jam, loses grip, doesn't manage to stop the car, and backs it in. Doesn't look that dramatic here, but this gives you an idea of what happens.
What that was like at somebody with one of those big home theaters and a giant speaker. A very expensive piece of noise. Paul Tracy should be coming back to a green flag in about a lap and a half. How will the strategy, the tactics play on this race now? 130 laps are complete. Let's go to Jan.
Well, Paul, talking about that pit fuel strategy, people had to come in and fill up with fuel in case this was a long yellow. But as you said, with 1.5 laps to go, I don't think anybody can make it. If it would have stayed yellow to lap 135, I think they could have made it. It's unlikely it's going to be a 2-stop race. For all those people who came in, I really believe it's now a 3-stop race.
Jan, we'd have to agree, Jan, from this end of the pits, it looks like a 3-stop race. But one thing to keep in mind, Jim McGee, who is on the radio to Nigel Mansell, was planning their first stop at 72. Our first indication that they were getting terrific fuel mileage because we thought the window would be 65 to 67 laps. We asked McGee, how are you now? And he jokingly says, oh, we're okay, we can do it. Then he gave me the big wink. I agree with Jan. I think we're going to see a 3-stop race definitely here.
They come back to the green flag. Time will tell. 132nd lap as they come back to green from the 3rd yellow of the day, and already the challenge is mounted. Paul Tracy, of course, the leader as he comes around Mario Andretti. In second place is Fittipaldi. Tracy had a tremendous pit stop at 13.5 seconds, while Nigel Mansell, you see him back there alongside of Guerrero, had a 26-second stop. That was very costly for him. They all headed into the pits as soon as the yellow came out.
And at one time, Mansell thought that he was ahead of Paul Tracy when that crash happened. In fact, he really wasn't. Tracy was the leader, and Tracy went straight to the pit. It didn't make any difference because of that lengthy pit stop that he had.
Mario Andretti, they just overhauled, runs down in 15th position. Had handling problems early in the race. They haven't fully been able to correct that problem.
And as the race unfolds, the further back Nigel Mansell is, the easier it is for Roger Penske to make a decision on the championship and team orders. If Mansell is 3rd or 4th or further down, then there's no reason to even think about team orders and trying to help Emerson.
Of course, part of the question, too, as Mansell and Tracy battle, is who picks up that extra point for leading the most laps. The battle is between them right now. Raul Boesel will leave here with no points. He runs in 4th right now. He'll leave with 98, having earned none. Mario Andretti, if he stays in position, will also earn no points and remain in 5th place. There's still that 3-way battle between Mansell, Fittipaldi, and Tracy at the top of the points fight.
Robbie Gordon and Al Unser Jr. embroiled in a battle here. They've been side by side for the last 2 laps. We picked them up here. Gordon just about gets the edge. He's running in 5th place. You can see that there. But Al Jr. relentless in race situations, having had a terrible weekend, qualifying way worse than he ever likes to do.
Stefan Johansson, Scott Goodyear, Scott Brayton. They all run together, though not in contest with one another.
Brayton running 6th. He qualified 7th, so he's running it right about where he qualified. You see Teo Fabi there. We haven't seen much for him. Mike Groff is there, right behind his boss, Bobby Rahal. It amazes me, Paul, that line has not actually worn away. Now, we saw that when we got here first this weekend. We've had Busch Grand National Cars race on it. We've had Support Series races, IndyCars practice, and it did not actually wear that away. I mean, really was a surprise to everybody here. Of course, we had no rain at all weekend to help the situation.
Hiro Matsushita, he runs in 16th place. As we take a look at the front of the field again, the battle in the Penske cars. They've changed the pronunciation again. They've given it to us 4 or 5 different ways. Now it seems that they have settled on Matsushita. They started the year with Matsushita.
But he is the Japanese driver.
Hiroyuki, by the way, is first name. Not Hiro.
Hey, Hiro's a perfect name for a racing driver.
So at the front of the field, the battle is still between the Penske cars. And Paul Tracy just put an extra lap on Nigel for the points.
Remember those old dirt tracks, AJ? The dirt would just eat up the engines.
Two champions sharing a winning formula. Haviland Formula 3.
My favorite win was going to be in '69. I had to give it to you. You shouldn't have even made a half a lap.
Complete professionals who rely on the same complete protection you can buy right off the shelf. Haviland Formula 3 motor oil from Texaco.
Heck, I still feel if I can't win, I don't want nobody to win.
I'll try to remember that, AJ.
Do that.
In a full afternoon of racing now, because of time constraints, we move ahead in the action in the New England 200, a battle in the IndyCars, both for the race and a battle for the championship. In the New England 200, the battle is for the lead, and Emerson Fittipaldi now looking at slower traffic of Hiro Matsushita. Moves up behind Paul Tracy. Nigel Mansell moves in from third place at the same time. That Mansell moves under Tracy. Moves under Fittipaldi as the yellow comes out.
Emerson looked to me to get awfully close. There's debris down inside
Mario.
turn one. Oh, debris, lots of it now. But Emerson looked very, very close to Matsushita as he made the pass there.
Mario and Scott Goodyear both against the wall. Scott Goodyear climbs out of the car. Mario stays in it.
Not enough room.
Damage to the right front wheel. The IndyCar safety crew already there.
Scott Goodyear looks back. Mario